If you are working in pharmaceutical industry, or you are going to work in the pharmaceutical industry, or you are going to work in any of the department of pharmaceutical industry, having the knowledge of how to face regulatory inspection is mandatory, because audits are very important and these are the things which are going to have a lot of value for the business growth of any company. Now, old days have gone that you used to prepare for the regulatory inspection once the audit is announced. But nowadays, you can be inspected at any time, so you will have to apply the new strategies and new ways of preparation for the regulatory inspections. And we have to prepare all time ready to be inspected. We have to work to win instead of the survival, and all these concepts I have written in my book Blue Ocean of Compliance. And today, which video I have brought for you, that webinar was I have given on the platform of IPA, Indian Pharmaceutical Alliance. In this webinar, I have discussed that why the regulatory inspections are happening, what are the types of the applications to be filed in US market if you want to sell your product in US market. What are the non-compliance, what are the enforcement actions, and there are different types of the enforcement actions I have discussed, like seizure, mass seizure, open-ended seizure, and many other topics I have discussed in this webinar. I have also discussed that what are the reasons of the non-compliance and why the non-compliance are happening on the site, and how to remove that non-compliance. And if you also want to know the answers of the many questions, like that why the trainings are failing, why the trainings are not effective, why even after so much educated people are giving training to your people, but still people are not stopping doing mistakes, and you are just fed up with human error. If you also want to know that why the budgets are not approved for the quality and compliance, and how to convince the people for that, and you want to know the many answers of the many questions, so this webinar is going to help you getting that answer of that questions. And if you want to know in more details and completely, do not forget to read my book Blue Ocean of Compliance, right? So do not miss watching this video till the end, because you will be learning many things about the audits and regulatory inspections. And do not forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, because on this channel every week I share one video with you with full of learnings, from full of the discussions, from which you will able to know that how to prepare for the regulatory inspections, how to be ready to be inspected all the time, and this is going to add a lot of value in your career, in your success, and in your future growth. Okay, so all the best. Watch this webinar, and yes, do not forget to write the comments, what did you like in this video, and what the topics in future video you want to cover, right? And also write me the topics which I should cover in my upcoming books. Okay, so all the best. Watch this webinar.
Every month. Let me welcome you to the program on the compliance. The compliance today is a very important topic for each one in the pharma industry. We have seen what impact it could have on our businesses if the compliances have issues. And we have seen it almost every place where there are issues. It creates problems in the businesses, great loss in the revenue, and anxiety at all the time. So to deal with this complex topic of the compliance, we have here with Dr. Rupali Paranspe with us, who is the author of book which is called the Blue Ocean of Compliance. This book is best-selling book on the Amazon for number of weeks currently now. Since it is published, it is on the best-selling list. Dr. Rupali Paranspe is a PhD in chemistry, pharmaceutical analysis, with the MBA, PGD in IPR, PGD in RA, Regulatory Affairs, plus 21 years of solid experience in the QC, quality assurance, regulatory, QC, quality assurance, and regulatory. She is passionate about regulatory and compliance, and that can be seen the way in which she has written the book. She has worked with several pharma companies and has provided the support to them also. Now, after going out, leaving the jobs, she is in the consulting business. She gives training on the compliances, gives company advice on the how to avoid the compliance mistakes and the huge losses because of them. She also gives the help in the greenfield projects to in supporting the QC and QA, actually setting up the QC and QA. So that's his background. She has got a very big biography. I don't want to go through it because it will take a lot of time. But let me welcome Dr. Rupali Paranspe to give her address. Thank you. Dr. Rupali Paranspe.
Thank you, such a warm welcome. And I thank you, Indian Pharmaceutical Times, for inviting for this knowledge sharing forum and giving me opportunity to share my experience. Dear esteemed leaders of pharma industry, I really thank you all for joining this presentation and investing your valuable time for listening my thoughts on my blue ocean of compliance. And I'm sure that each one of you will find some or the other useful aspects by joining this session. And I hope that you will read this book and you will implement the ideas which I have written in this book, and they are really going to bring a positive impact and improvement in your site. This is not the 100% I have written in the book, but yes, with these principles, you can bring a lot of change on your site. So thank you all for joining this session. And let's start. That sir has already given the introduction that my book, Blue Ocean of Compliance, is the best-selling book on the Amazon. And I have also the winner of Women Excellence Award in Healthcare Industry. I got it. And I help pharma professionals and pharma industries to establish the compliance, and in cost-effective manner is my passion. And I keep sharing my thoughts on LinkedIn, and also keep sharing the blue ocean of compliance tips on my YouTube channel. My book has also featured, I thank all of the pharma news magazines like Express Pharma, IPA Bulletin, and Indian Pharma Post, and Pharma Machines and Technology for featuring this book in indirectly this thought process of blue ocean of compliance. With this, I would like to start our session and bringing you all to the subject which we are going to discuss now. Imagine that you have received the call from security that USFDA investigators are at your gate in your factory. Then how you will feel? That suddenly they have come to your company, and you did not have any idea that inspectors are going to come in your facility, and your all work is going routinely. So how you will feel? So might be possible that a site QA head, you will remember that, oh my God, there are so many QMS, they are still incomplete, there are incomplete investigation. Might be some CAPAs are ineffective and deviations are not reducing, and trainings are all not, training schedule is not complete, and in fact, self-inspection schedule that is also not complete. And oh my God, what deviation just today in the production, some deviation has happened, some breakdown in machines has happened, and people did not even take the deviation, and they have started working on another equipment. And how you will feel as a site QA head, as a QC head, as a production head? Then what will be your mental condition? Can you imagine? So if anything happens in the audit, that what reasons you will give? Whether you will give the reasons that management did not approve the high budget, and QC production warehouse people did not listen, or QA could not communicate properly to the people, and training do not work, data integrity concerns are not stopping even after putting so much effort. There are so many knowledgeable people. So what will you do? How will your mental condition? Whether anyone will say that how he or she is not responsible for whatever non-compliance happening, and they will save themselves. What are you going to do? Whether you are going to fire people, and how many times? Can you imagine? And what can be the results? Results may be the criminal fines can happen by the USFDA Form 483 can be given, warning letter, injection, prosecution, criminal prosecution, seizure, recall, field error. What can happen? Can you imagine that what situations are under the pressure when sudden USFDA inspection happen and we are not prepared? Even enforcement actions can happen, whatever I told, that like seizure and warning letters. There are many enforcement actions can happen, and what can be the result of that enforcement action, right? There may be no business for several years, and the people who are working in the company which got warning letter, they may also lose the job, and getting the new job might be very difficult for them. Their families are going to suffer, and company's brand is going to suffer. No other company would like to do the business of with that company or organization which have received the warning letter. Whether the inspections are bad, now question arises that whether these inspections should not happen. USFDA inspector or MHRA or regulatory inspector should not come to the organization to inspect the audit. But they're a little bit confusion, I think, right? So if we will see the other aspect, that by qualifying the regulatory inspection, we get the permission to sell our product to other market. We get the business, we get the employment, we are manufacturing the good quality of the medicine, we serve the society, right? So there is question arises that no, inspections are not bad, inspections are good because they are saving the human health also and patients also, right? Let me share with the story that how Blue Ocean of Compliance book came in my mind. Actually, I have also gone through the experience of 20 years, and that I have seen the time of regulatory inspections, that what pressures and what pressures are there on everyone who is working on that company, how the families are suffered, families' time is suffered. So when I have seen that even the health is getting impacted, families are getting impacted, everyone working in the company is getting impacted. So I thought that what can be the solution? That what are the problems and how these problems can be solved? So I was brainstorming all these things, and the born of Blue Ocean of Compliance came into my mind. This is the thought process, Blue Ocean of Compliance. So I thought that whether there are the ways to face the regulatory inspections peacefully and effortlessly, are there any need to rethink on the strategy of preparation of the regulatory inspections? Yeah, because now we can see that regulatory inspections are unannounced, right? So previously they were used to give the timeline and we used to prepare, but now we are not going to get the time. So we have to change the strategy of preparation of the USFDA regulatory inspections. So many of the answers of the questions you are going to find in this book, Blue Ocean of Compliance, right? What strategies should we apply to qualify the regulatory inspections effortlessly? So what I thought, I got from I studied the warning letters and studied the situations. So I concluded that we should not prepare for the audit. Preparation for the audit is wrong practice, which we are doing since our childhood. Because for exam also, when we study in the school, we prepare for the exam at the time of exam, right? And similarly, at the time of audit, when announced that, at that time we do the preparation, but that is the wrong practice. And we have to ready to be inspected at any time and every time. And only few people will change and bring this thought process, then it is not going to work. Everyone should work on the common goal, right? So to change or build the quality culture in our organization, everyone should work on the common goal. Everyone should work to win. We always, in our life also, this is the general tendency that we work not to lose. But in that case, our efficiency is slightly decreased. We have to work to win. We have not to work to survival, right? So that is the main thought process which I have expressed in this book. So Blue Ocean of Compliance concept is there. There will be two types of the industries, right? One will be working in red ocean of compliance and another will be working in the blue ocean of compliance, right? So the industries which are working in the red ocean, how you can see with this slide that how the thought process of both the industries are differing a lot. First, in red ocean, people who are working, they are working to pass the audit, right? While the blue ocean compliance people, they target 0483. right? Red ocean compliance people think that we should not get the 483, we should not give the warning letters, we should not lose the audit, and we have to survive and we have to pass the audit. While in the blue ocean of compliance strategy, they work to win. They are already ready to be audited at any time. And red ocean, they prepare for the audit at the last moment once the audit is announced. And blue ocean of compliance people are already and always ready to be audited at any time. They do separate preparation for the inspection. They do not prepare for the audit, right? Here the fear is the main factor, and here the confidence that they are going to pass the inspection. Even they are bothered that how we can excel and best perform in the inspection, so that auditor will come and give the example of our company to the other company, right? And here all our people are under the tremendous pressure, and here the people will be under the positive pressure. Positive pressure means they will be relaxed, but yes, they will put their all efforts to do the best. So this is the survival thought process, this is the winning thought process. So the people are given removed due to their mistakes, and here the people are made competent to face any of the challenge coming in the audit. And these people are working for the commercial profits only, and blue ocean of compliance people will be working to manufacture the good quality of medicine. Their target will be to heal the patient, for which the medicine is going to be prepared. When we will prepare the good quality of the medicine, so we are already going to pass and qualify the audit. So these were the difference. So now question arises, you will ask me that, Rupali, how your book will help us? Because this is not practically that much easy in which you are presenting. So let me share with you that in this book, I have studied the situation, and based on that, I have presented many invisible factors you will find that will help you to find the problems of many solutions. I am not telling that 100% solution, but you will be able to find many invisible things which till date you were not able to find or you were not able to see. Now, first example I am giving you, that few of the things I am going to discuss with you, that everyone knows, might be most of the people will be knowing that in our mind is three types of the minds are there. First is conscious mind, another is pre-conscious mind, and other is unconscious mind, right? So the things, if you want to change your habits permanently, so what you will have to work on the unconscious level of your mind. If you will work on the conscious level of the mind, so things will be temporary, right? We think that every year we will go to gym, we go for some time and we stop. We will do yoga whole year, but we don't do. For some time we do and then we stop. Likewise, the habits are built on the unconscious level, right? So the question arises, why I am discussing with you to tell the why the trainings fail and effective. Means I observe that people don't like to send people for the training because they think that in that time people can do work something on the deliverables. So work is also suffering, and even after giving training, people are doing mistakes and again. And I have seen personally that only correcting the single mistake, cut, sign, and justification is to be given, and sign date is to be written. In that also people are not able to follow. Why? Even after giving the multiple trainings, they are not able to do that. Why? Because I have discussed in my book that even after giving the training, the trainings we are working on the conscious level, right? But people are coming from different organizations, and those habits are deeply ingrained in their unconscious mind. So even after you keep on giving the training, those training we are giving on conscious mind. So those trainings are not being effective. Why? Because then unconscious mind, some other habits are ingrained and imbibed. Those habits are deep rooted in their mind. So to change their habits on unconscious level, you have to repeatedly train them. So don't think that one time you have given training and people are not responding, so your training efforts are wasted, right? So don't think that. Keep giving the training, because it is going to impact their mind, and people keep changing the organization. So previous organizations habits are also there with them. So don't be disappointed that, oh my God, we have given so much training but nothing is working, and don't be disappointed. So that's why I want to tell them. So these things are presented. Now you will think that, oh, have you seen that every organization has very highly qualified people? They have high knowledge, a lot of knowledge. They can solve the tremendous problem of your organization, but still audits are failing. Even the companies, the best companies in the world, topmost companies in the world are getting the warning letters. Why? And people, trainer, they are giving training, but still people are not learning. Why? Because if the people are giving training by highly qualified people, that does not mean that training is going to impact on their unconscious mind, right? We have to select the trainers wisely. Means the trainer must be such that he or she should be really interested in benefit of the people. They should be interested to polishing the skill of the people. They should be interested making life of the people. They should be interested, and they should understand the human psychology, human behavior, and they could communicate their message properly. Means so that people want to do and work in compliance. Up to that level, you will have to impact the brain of the person. Then only the trainings will be effective, right? So this was the point I have elaborated very in detail in Blue Ocean Compliance. You will when you read, you will know. Now another thing is that why the people are not agree with the quality and regulatory. I personally worked in compliance also, in regulatory affairs also, but many times we have to struggle to convince. Many times we find that we are convincing as a QA professional, as a regulatory professional, we keep on convincing the people that this should be done and these are the guidelines. We have to follow this guideline, but people still are not being convinced. Why? Their conflicts are happening. Why? Because different people come from different backgrounds, right? The people who are from the commercial background, they are not wrong because their background is of commercial value, right? We are, and people who are in quality, who are in regulatory, their background is of quality and regulatory. So those people will be knowing the quality and regulatory aspects better than those. So everyone's priorities are different. So we have to educate them, and we have to communicate them properly that how the quality and following quality and regulatory is going to help in the growth of the organization, and in long term, only following the regulatory regulations is going to bring the commercial profit to the organization, right? Now I will discuss that what this book talks about. Book is talking that how you will able to convince the people of your organization, right? If you are facing the difficulty that how to convince this person, how to convince that person, how the people will be work in line of the compliance. So this flow which I have mentioned in book, that is really going to help you. First point is that why the regulatory inspections are happening. So what are the types of the application in the US market? For example, in IND, investigational new drug applications, that is filed before the human clinical trials, right? For the exemption from the FDA rule, so that we can share the samples for the clinical trial to US market. So that is IND. Second is new drug application. So by new drug application, we get the approval to sell the new drug in market of US, right? And abbreviated new drug application. It is the application for the generic drug approval for already approved drug. Biologic license application, over-the-counter drug application. So all these things presented, which is the business opportunity, right? Do you agree that all these applications are business opportunity? Whenever any person get the approval for any drug in the market, so they share that we have qualified this, we got the approval for this product, we got the approval for that product. So why? Because they are going to get the business opportunities. So when we get the business opportunities, when our site is inspected and we qualify the regulatory inspection, and they find that our site is genuinely manufacturing the good quality of the product, then they will agree that yes, we will buy your medicine for our country. So inspections are good, and these are the business opportunities. Now a question arises that whenever the inspectors come and audit your facilities, so whatever observations they find with respect to the regulations and guidelines, there are the three categories, right? FDA's database segregate all observations in these three categories. First is no action indicated, where there is no objectionable conditions or practices are found by the regulatory inspectors, and there is no need to justify, there is no need for the any regulatory action. So this will come no action indicated NAI. Another is that voluntary action indicated, which means that objectionable conditions are there, but agency is not prepared to take action, or it is not justifiable to take the action, right? And another is that OAI, official action indicated, means there are some observations and regulatory authorities will recommend the enforcement administrative actions for that. Now, this was the background. In chapter 2, there are different regulatory enforcement actions are discussed. So what can happen if non-compliance is there? First thing, that criminal fines or food, drug, cosmetic action violation can be happen to you. $100,000 if the individual does not result in the death. Means if any medicine is such that there is no death of the person, but it is adulterated drug. So this will $100,000 fine will be there. Likewise, if any corporation is having that charge, so and there is no death of the patient is happening, so $200,000 fine will be there. Similarly, for an individual, and $250,000 fine will be there. So these are the different examples of the fine that FDA will be charging in case of adulteration of the drugs and furious drugs, means drugs which are having the impact on the safety, quality, and efficacy of the product, right? So another what regulatory actions can happen, we can get the form 483, right? When any non-compliance is such that there is an impact on the safety, quality, and efficacy of the product, so form 483 is going to be issued, and in that case, we have to justify, and we have to take the proper action to fill the gap. If we cannot justify that gaps, and we could not take the proper corrective action and preventive action, so that form may be those observations may be converted to warning letter. And you know that warning letter is an informal advisory, but this does not commit that enforcement action will be taken, right? If any company get the warning letter, so this does not mean that any enforcement action is going to be taken. But if no corrective action is taken, then company gets the part of the enforcement actions. Enforcement actions are taken against the company, right? Then another is enforcement action is injunction. This is the order of the court. Means I am discussing all the non-compliance can happen, and this you can communicate to the other people also on your side, so that they will be convinced that yes, we cannot compromise the quality for commercial benefits and or any other reason, right? Many times this happen that it is not only the commercial, but attitude of the people is also hampering the compliance. So if you will educate people that yeah, these are the enforcement action, and companies will have to suffer a lot for this, so this is not beneficial for the organization, right? So injunction is the order by court against the individual or corporation to stop the flow of violative products in interstate of the commerce. So if in US the products are being sold already available on the market, and there is any adulteration is found, means any non-compliance found, and so FDA found that action to be taken against that individual person or corporation, so injunction is the enforcement action. Another is prosecution. So in prosecution, criminal action is taken against the company and individual, and in this case, no need proof of intent, means might be possible that unknowingly person has performed the non-compliance, but it is not going to work. That person or company is going to be punished, and action against that person or company is going to be taken, right? So these were the non-compliant. Another is first alert. For example, whenever any company FDA find that there are non-compliance, so they get the information from different sources, and they take the action on that non-compliance. Now another enforcement action is seizure. So action against FDA regulated product to remove that product is seizure, is called a seizure. So there are different types of the seizure. One is mass seizure. In mass seizure, what happens that all regulated FDA regulated products manufactured in that particular facility or establishment are seized. Mass means in maximum number of the quantity, right? So all the FDA regulated products which are manufactured under certain conditions of the non-compliance, all those products are removed from the market, right? So that is mass seizure. Another seizure is open-ended seizure. What happens in this? All the units of specific products, regardless of lot number, for example, 5 milligram tablets are found that these are not following the guidance and FDCA. So all units of that specific products will be removed from the market. Okay. And another is that multiple seizures. Seizure of the same product in more than one district code. Means different codes are there, and different codes have different charges on that company or organization or that person. So multiple seizures are going to be performed for that particular product and particular for that company. Another, we all know that recall and field correction, right? So in recall is the voluntary action. When we find that our product is failing for stability, for example, or any of the reason, we voluntarily recall that product and we do the field correction, right? So only performing the recall does not suffice. We have to check the effectiveness check also for that particular product, whether it is corrected or not, whether any of the patient is not impacted by selling this product, right? So that alerting, FDA also alert the public, right? And field alert is also there. So when field alert is taken, when product is already distributed in the market, so at that time field alert report is to be raised by the company, right? Another is import alert. USFDA, when FDA has sufficient evidences that yes, this drug is adulterated and this is not good for the health of the people, so they directly remove the product from market, right? So import alert. These are the enforcement action. Another is that FDA department. Whenever we do the regulatory filing, so department certificate is required. So do you know that what is that certificate? So that department list is the list of people who are involved in the crime related activity related to the drug product. These people excluded or prohibited from doing anything in the pharma industry. So that is drug product departments, and FDA department list is the list of the person who should not be involved because they have the charges against them, right? So in notions, I have presented different symbols. OIG exclusion. So in OIG exclusion, in this, what happened that these people are not permitted to provide the care programs, such as in US there are some programs for healthcare. So in that the people cannot work, right? Now, what are the types of the departments? There are two types of the department. First is mandatory department and another is permissive department. So if the person has performed such crime, he has charged and charge is proved regarding the non-compliance, so that person is permanently debarred from working in the pharma industry. So these are permanent charges, right? So another is permissive debarment. So the person has charges, but they are not that much serious. So after a few years, the charges will be removed from that person and something can happen, he can work or she can work, right? So these were the enforcement actions I have discussed. So we have discussed that form 483 we got. So there are three types of the form. 482, when by form 482 we get the notice of inspection, and 483 we have already discussed that we get the observations, and each one of us, I believe that we know that form 483. And 484 is the form which is filled by the inspector for receipt of the sample, right? Now these we have prepared the base of the person, that why the inspections are happening, why are the enforcement actions, and what losses can happen to the company. Now coming to the chapter 3 and 4. Here the reasons of non-compliances excuse me, non-compliances have discussed, which you will observe, which you also might have observed on your side, like the right mindset, lack of the right mindset. If people don't want to work in compliance, right? There is the problem of mindset of the people. If in the higher management, people are only money minded, right? They don't bother about the quality or compliance. So that is also one problem. If there may be mindset of the employees, means employees are not interested in following the compliance. अरे क्या होता है, इतना तो चलता है, इसमें क्या होता है, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा, because they are working, they are not working for the patient. Means whatever product or medicines we are going to manufacture, so we are manufacturing the product for the patient, but they are doing as only their job कि मेरा job है, product pass होना चाहिए, fail नहीं होना, or the commercial or they do not have the right attitude. So mindset problem is there. People are not doing online documentation, lack of compliance mindset, lack of quality mindset. Means the person should manufacture as a pharma professional. We should manufacture the product of the good quality. So that is lacking. Thought process is lacking, and many times people for short-term gain they do the long-term losses. Means I have also discussed one example that calibration was pending and it was not performed because there was a lack of the fund, and later it was found that in water, means this hypothetical study, case study I have presented, that later what happened that water was not the water standard water. So what will happen? All the batches tested with that water will be in questions, that whether you are going to recall all those batches from the market. So this may be the reason that short-term gain, to save few money, they are inviting a bigger non-compliance, right? Then lack of knowledge, few people are not having knowledge, so that's why they are doing non-compliance. But many people are having the knowledge, but they don't want to implement. So these are the things happening, like communication gap. Many times in SOPs are not properly communicated, that how practice to be followed. So applying the shortcuts, lack of understanding of regulations. Many times we are not updated with the regulations, so that may be the reason. Many times the adaptation of the new skills. So because every day new and new inventions are happening, and we have to update with the new technology with this improvement. So this may be the reason. Human error may be the reason. Lack of training, failure of training, data integrity. These are non-compliances, right? So now in chapter 4, I have discussed how to solve that problem of non-compliance, how we should create the right mindset of the people, how to convince the people of management if they are not working towards quality, what should we do to that people will be working in the right mindset. Okay, so how to bring the change in the thought process of the person, how we can change the right mindset of the employee. So all these things I have discussed in that. And there are communication gap also. Many times as a QA person or regulatory person, we are not able to communicate the actual reason that why this thing or regulation to be followed. So that is also one communication gap. So any regulatory person or compliance person or regulatory person and compliance person. I'm looking at the questions, but first I will complete this and I will give the answers of your question. Ms. Pooja Baldeo, right? I am looking the questions. After completing, we will discuss. So communication gap may be from our side also, that we are not able to convince the person, we are not going the data, we are not able to give the actual data, we should convince the person, right? So these may be the things, and we should not apply the shortcuts, how the shortcuts will hamper the cost and profit of the organization. So how these we can convince the person, how to do that I have discussed in this, right? In chapter 5, that wisdom is to learn from others' mistake, because our life is very small, right? And if we will experience each failure, so in chapter 5 we discuss that wisdom is to learn from others' mistake. For example, our life is very small and we don't have time to do all the mistakes in the world, right? So it is better to learn from others' mistakes. So in chapter 5 I have discussed the case studies of warning letters. 12 warning letters I have discussed, and in chapter 2, 492, 483s are discussed. Like means here, for example, first serial number 1. So procedure not in writing fully followed. So responsibilities and procedures applicable to the quality control are not in line. So in 2021, means 18,208 observations were there, 215, then 20 and 21. So likewise, 4 years 483s are comparative study are presented. So this was the basic and building block of the foundation of blue ocean of compliance. Now in chapter 6, blue ocean of compliance concept is there. In that framework, that how to achieve the compliance in different organization, that framework I have presented. Means the company which is old facility, how they should follow the framework so to attain the blue ocean of compliance stage, and the company which is having the which is greenfield project or starting, how they should work so that they will come in the world of the compliance, right? So this was the thought process of blue ocean of compliance which I have presented, and I'm sure that it is going to help you to establish the compliance and remove the non-compliance from your side, and in fact solve the problems which are invisible. Because time constraint, I could not explain everything, but this was in the short, in brief, what I could present to you. So with this, you can follow me on YouTube channel, where as I told you, that I give the compliance tips for all of you. And on LinkedIn also, I'm writing so that in every post you will learn some or the other things. So now what can I do regarding this book? Because I have written the book, but how I can help you, that I can give the training based on this book on your site, and I can help the implement the system and perform the audit on your site, and I also can help the staff for implementation of the systems, right? So this was all the things about the blue ocean of compliance. With this, at last, I would like to know from you that in future, what other aspects, actually I want to know that what problems you are facing on your side, so that I can address all those things in my upcoming book. Because this is the first book, but in future also I will keep serving the pharma community and keep writing the books. And in that, I'm going to address the solution of the problems. I will try to give the solution of the problems, and you can write me email also personally if you are facing any difficulty, so I can address those things in my upcoming books. Thank you so much for listening patiently regarding this concept.
Thank you, Dr. Rupali. It was a very interesting session. I think there are some questions have come. So first question is, what is red, yellow alert in last slides what you have shown? There is also one more question from Baldev Pandey.
Yeah,
Discuss about application integrity policy. When you are making the AND or something, that application, that in what policy should be there so that nothing wrong is reported or something like that. That's what he's saying, AIP. Or will you, Devang, will you be able to unmute Baldev Pandey? He can ask the question in detail. I have no way of, you have any idea about this?
Another question is also, what is your assessment of impact? That is also, what is your assessment of impact on compliance due to ineffective training and culture issues? Impact, okay, due to ineffective training, I will share with you my personal experience that when I started my career in pharma industry, I started when I was not doing, means I was not having that much knowledge. But whenever any fresher joins or any person joins, so if the person will be given proper training, so they will be able to perform very well in the organization. For example, I have also seen example in one of the company that freshers or inexperienced people were joining, and due to peer pressure and deliverables, they are not giving the proper training, and they started working in the shop floor and they started working in the company. So there were a lot of non-compliance were there. So to solve these non-compliance, huge cost, time, efforts are involved of the company. So impact of compliance due to ineffective training. So if the training will be not effective, for example, if training is already performed only to fill the schedule of the training, so that person is not going to learn that how to perform any action, so how to follow the compliance. So he or she is going to do mistakes again, and there will be a lot of non-compliance on the site, and there is no need to say that what cost the companies are paying for the non-compliance, right? So ineffective trainings are a major reason of non-compliance. Trainings are very important, and I personally, what I feel that training should be performed very religiously, so a lot of burden of non-compliance will reduce on all the people of the organization.
Yes, Dr. Rupali. while we are talking about the training, one aspect you have touched very rightly, that it is not only the training, how training is conducted, because training brings a change in the behavior of the people. And unless and until people understand the psychology, the techniques of the training, we cannot make a change. We cannot motivate the people for a change. That is a very, very important aspect. And regarding the AIP policy, I was intending to just humbly request that this aspect should also be incorporated, because the data submitted during the application, if data is not authentic, then it will create compliance right from beginning. And all the pharma professionals should also understand this aspect of USFDA. Thank you.
Okay. So next, in my upcoming book, I will be covering this aspect also, and revised edition of my book I will be covering. Thank you for your suggestion.
Welcome, ma'am.
You can connect separately on my mail or my number also, so that we can discuss in detail.
Sure.
What else to be added in the book, and it is going to help maximum people.
Rupali, there is one more question: how to perform impact assessment and suitable kappa for human error deviation?
Okay.
Did you get the question?
Where it is?
Question is how to perform impact assessment and suitable kappa for human error deviations.
Human error deviation means, let me tell you that I am sure that everyone should have the SOP. So we know what is the procedure. But now the question I think you asked me, because we are not getting the solution of that human error mistakes, and it is not being solved even after so many efforts, right?
Yeah.
What is the problem? Means everyone's problem, not your problem. Yeah. So actually, we have to, whenever human errors are happening in the organization, you can write means you have to study individual, right? So whether you have to check that every individual is making that mistake, that if every individual is making a mistake, that means it is some system error, because everyone cannot do the mistake, right? So we have to study the system, that where the system is lacking, what changes we have to do in the system, so that everyone will come in the compliance. Means there should be some problem due to which everyone is doing mistake. So that is one reason. I think that can be solved by looking in the guidelines and actually how the practices are there on your site, because each site's chemistry, each site's quality culture is different, and everyone's problems are also different. So based on your company, based on your organization, you have to study that psychology, or your company's psychology, your organization's psychology, that what is the reason of that non-compliance, means that human error, right? That is one aspect. Now other is that only one individual is doing mistake repeatedly. Means I will share with you my one experience, that in one company I was working, and one person was there, and he was doing repeatedly mistake, and people have come to me that, ma'am, please give him training, he is doing mistakes. I asked them that what training he need. So they told that, ma'am, you give the good documentation practices. So good documentation practices, what training should I give? Because there is one cut sign and correction is to be done. But then I told that, okay, you send me. They told that we have tried everything, we have given him so much work, and since last few months he is coming only in night shift. And then also, even given after so many punishments, he is not being corrected, and he is repeatedly doing the mistakes. Now we are thinking that what should be, some action is to be taken. So this is the last try we are going to do. So you give the training. So I told, okay, I will give. So I talked with that person, and I have discussed nothing about good documentation practice. Just I tried to analyze him and given him some suggestions. So after that, that person has stopped doing mistake, and even after, he was checking every other person's documentation, and he was leading the team. So many times happens that you have to study the individual to individual person, because there are a lot of factors which are, because we are humans, right? So some person's personal issues may be there. Might be possible that company's culture or environment is not good. Might be possible that the relation with the senior is not good. Might be possible that colleagues are not supporting. So you have to study individual, that what factors are impacting that person. So that factor you have to resolve, and when you will resolve that factor, then that human error will be removed from that person. So if you are facing the individual problem, so you have to study that person, think with him, sit with him or her, you talk to that person, you ask him that what is the problem, why the mistakes are happening, because many times mistakes happens, maybe fear that kuch galti na ho jaye, to the people do mistakes. Even when I was junior, so I was doing a lot, I was also used to do the mistakes. So you have to study the individual, and based on that you have to suggest the kappa. Okay, now how should we conclude an error as a human error? You can do the fishbone diagram for that, and you can decide that whether the error is human error, because there are different factors, that whether the system is problem, SOP is problem, where the knowledge is problem, right, where the guidelines are not communicated properly, QA is not communicating properly. So if nothing is wrong, that might be human error, we can identify easily, because that is due to the personal problem. So you have to work with that person. If anyone is doing continuously mistakes, so you have to sit, means I specifically, it is very effective to sit with that person, talk with that person politely, and try to study that person, and with empathy, means not blame game कि तुम इतना mistake क्यों करते हो, इतना बताने के बाद भी क्यों mistake की, means don't try to create the pressure on that person, remove the pressure from that mind of that person, and that person will start working very effectively, and that person will give the results. So we are fine, after all we are the humans, but we focus on other aspects, and we forget few basic aspects which we are learning from our Indian culture from starting.
I think most of the questions are answered. Thank you, Dr. Rupali, for the wonderful talk and the glimpses of the book which we are going to read. I think it has definitely raised the awareness, and people will go to read the book in details, so understand how compliance needs to be implemented in all our organizations. I also thank all the participants. Thank you very much, and let us look for the next seminar. Thank you. Thank you, Rupali.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
If you are working in pharmaceutical industry, irrespective of any department or any job responsibility you are having, the knowledge of compliance and regulatory inspection is must, because inspections are nothing but the new business opportunities for any of the company, and if you are contributing in the growth of the organization, in the business of the organization, then only you will be able to prove yourself that you are the asset for the organization. So if any of the responsibility you are having, but you are working in pharmaceutical industry, who is facing the regulatory inspections, who have faced regulatory inspections, or who is going to face the regulatory inspection, you should be having the knowledge of compliance and regulatory inspection. In this Blue Ocean of Compliance series, every week I make an informal talk for you. I record few thoughts and experiences based on which you can have the value addition in your career and you can grow in your organization, because after watching this regularly, there will be the drastic change in your thought process. There will be improvement the way you are working, and CGMP guidances which are discussed will be on your fingertips. In our life, we always prefer to associate with the people who are trustworthy, on whom we can blindly trust, and there is not any difference between what they are speaking and what they are doing. Similarly, in pharma industry also, all the guidelines and regulations are based on this simple concept only. As per that concept, whatever data we are presenting during the audit or inspection, that data should be authentic. There should not be any data integrity. And for that, there are different regulations. And 21 CFR Part 11 is also helping in to achieve that goal. How? So today we are going to discuss about 21 CFR Part 11. This regulation is for electronic documents, electronic records and electronic signature. Today I am going to discuss few things in this program Blue Ocean of Compliance. I am Dr. Rupali Paranspe, author of book Blue Ocean of Compliance. This book is bestseller on Amazon, and in this book I have written many elements which are not visible, means which are not written, but you can feel those elements, and if you will work on those elements, you will achieve the high level of compliance on your site, and you can solve many non-compliance problems if you will apply those principles on your site. To understand that what Blue Ocean of Compliance and what are the Blue Ocean of Compliance tips, and to change your thinking process, or in fact to develop the new style of thinking, do not miss to read this book Blue Ocean of Compliance, and also subscribe my YouTube channel, because on this channel every week I am preparing one informal talk for you which will help you to keep the CGMP regulations on your fingertips, and this will be very different way, and you will remember easily, and if you will apply on your site, you can solve many non-compliance problems and achieve the high level of compliance on your site, and you can face the regulatory inspections effortlessly if you apply those principles. Only knowing and not doing is equal to not knowing, right? Because whenever many times you might have heard when auditor gives the observations, though people say, oh yeah, we already know this, but only knowing is not going to help you. After knowing, you have to take the actions to fill those gaps, then only this will be effective and it will work. So let's discuss that what is 21 CFR Part. This is the regulation prepared by the USFDA for the electronic records and electronic signature. This 21 CFR Part 11 is applicable to those computer and software systems which are related to generation of the documents or documentation. Computer systems are related to CGMP activity. For example, in your quality control lab, there is HPLC, and that HPLC is used to analyze the data or batches which are going to be sent to USFDA market, or those batches are the part of batches which are going to be sent to the US market. So though that HPLC will have to be 21 CFR Part 11 compliance. Similarly, if you have GC, you have HPLC, you have particle size analyzer, and KF means Carl Fisher, or any instrument on which you analyze the batches which are sent to US market, or they are related to your submission, and they are part of your commercial batches which are you going to sell in the US market. So on all those instruments, the 21 CFR Part 11 will be applicable. There are few things you have to remember, that how you will know that 21 CFR part 11 is applicable on that, and what things you have to keep in mind. There are a lot of practices which are to be followed, but few important tips I am going to discuss in this blue ocean of compliance tips. First is that only authorized persons will be given the access to the computer systems. People who are authorized to work on that computer systems, those people must be identified, and the people who are part of the 21 CFR part 11 documentation and records, those people must be given the training. They should have the experience or any of the combination of this. So they must be provided the training, because if you will not provide the training, then how they will know that what is to be done and how the regulations are to be followed. Access to be provided to the people who are authorized to use that system. Okay, this is first thing. Another thing is that every authorized person should be given the unique username and password. For example, if there are 5 people working on 21 CFR part 11 instrument or equipment, right? There should be 5 user login or username and 5 passwords, means different passwords. Think that passwords should not be shared to anyone. Okay, for example, if any analysis is going on and that person is not in the company and something happens urgently, you need login to be done in that person's login. So what you will do, whether you will ask the person, you will call that person that please provide me the password and I can operate and solve that problem. So whether this is correct? No, this is not correct. So password should not be shared. Another thing is that there should be policy